Years 2000. A milestone moment for a Pittsburgh icon.
Malkin dusts it off. Right in front. Another chance. Backhand score! It's Brian Rust with the goal. Rarefied air to Hall of Fame career. 1,200 points for Evgeny Malkin.
2nd and 9. Pickett lines up a deep ball. Separation. Touchdown. George Pickens.
Welcome to another live edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline in the BPTV studio, 5100 West Library Avenue, Municipal Building. You know all the details. I've been telling you about it. We appreciate you watching us on Comcast 7, Comcast 21. Sorry that, Nick, you got to edit after the show.
You should say Comcast 7 times 3.
All right. Comcast 7 times 3.
Very good.
Chip's back. So they can clear it up. Thanks for watching us only on Comcast 21 in Bethel Park. We appreciate you. Thanks for watching us on Verizon 32 in Bethel Park and all the way from Nemacolin and Cranberry, the greater Pittsburgh area. Yes, there's people all over watching us. We appreciate it. Thanks for watching us on Facebook. We're holding steady over 7,000 and plus. We appreciate you. And you know I got to talk about YouTube. We're on the YouTube channel. I think we're at 154 or
166.
166. I missed a few. Way to kick that up. Yeah, it was 165 last week. Yeah. It all came back to me. Last week was a little confusing. We got Nick back in the saddle. He did everything. We added the 10 extra minutes, got it back in. The show looked perfect.
You were doing the basketball game last week?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. And Blackhawks won. They got to win out the rest of the year to get in the playoffs, so we got hope.
No, they're in the playoffs. They got to win out to get a home game.
Oh. You were talking about the broadcast abilities.
Are you doing the announcing for those games, or are you just doing the video?
What's that? It depends. Sometimes I announce, depending on what. I like to make the students do the stuff because they learn that way. But whenever a position needs filled, then that's what I do.
Jack of all trades.
There you go.
Well, I'm glad we got that covered. But please subscribe to our Pittsburgh Sportsline channel. And we love the interactions with you. So, hello, guys. Ralph Williams said. Hello, Ralph.
That's my man.
I'm glad you and Jim, you stole my co-host and had a good show. Ann Harder, I saw her in the studio. She brought her grandson in today. Chuck McElroy, Chief, is watching. Paul Haley and Ann Harder are watching. Pooja Tamar's watching. Paul Haley, greetings, guys, from South Carolina on Facebook Live. We salute you down there. Enjoy the weather. Margaret Rohde, a.k.a. Peggy, will tell us about the show, and her handsome son isn't on. A friend of ours, Baron Flannery's watching. We salute you. Yeah, so thanks for watching the show. All right, we got to do our promos in 10 seconds. Pittsburgh Sportsline supports the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette Strikers. I worked there for 36 years. My former union, CWA PPMWS 14842, Pittsburgh Local Mailers Union number 22, is on strike. Even though health care benefits were secured for workers by the union, Post-Gazette management cut them out without the union's approval and still expected workers to show up without any coverage. Please cancel your Post-Gazette subscriptions online or in print. Pittsburgh Sportsline supports the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette Union Strikers. Frank Fanera, owner of Olive Oil's Pizzeria in the Hillcrest Shopping Center on Route 88. Call them at 412-831-1900. Every Tuesday night, Olive Oil's Pizzeria provides the host and the amazing volunteer crew with an XL pepperoni pizza and a full steak hoagie. They are delicious. Olive Oils is proud to support Pittsburgh Sportsline and the volunteers at BPTV. Stay Joey strong. Joey Fabus died at 8 years old of brain cancer known as DIPG. Since then, the family has come together with community members to create the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit. Since being founded, they've raised over $100,000. Go to jfccf.org to learn more about DIPG, to help spread awareness, and to see how else you can support and donate towards the fight against this dreaded brain cancer. Always Be Smiling, a 501c3 designed to help children and families in need of kidney transplants. The B stands for Bennett, whose memory is embedded in this organization by his parents, Kristen and Dean. Despite the challenges he faced in his 16 and a half years of life, Bennett always had a smile on his face and spread kindness to everyone he could. Now, Always Be Smiling wants to pass on that kindness. Go to alwaysbesmiling.org to learn more and see how you can support or donate to this organization. The Bethel Park Community Foundation has money for you. I'm Al Levine, trustee on the board of this great organization. The BPCF focuses on raising money to provide scholarships, grants, endowments, and more. Grant requests are available online from $100 to $5,000. You can also attend fundraisers or donate. Go to bpcf.org to get more information and to stay up to date on upcoming events. The Bethel Park Community Foundation, focusing community resources, building for the future. The Bethel Park Historical Society is a 501c3 that serves Bethel Park. The Historical Society operates out of the Schoolhouse Arts and History Center, located at 2600 South Park Road. Look for the red and white trolley right out front. Reginald's Coffee is inside, and I've heard it's the best coffee around. To visit this great historical venue, email historicalsocietybp@gmail.com. Alex Reed is in need of a kidney. 2 weeks after college graduation, Alex's kidneys failed. A gracious donor gave Alex 7 years of life, but now he needs another kidney. To learn more about becoming a donor for Alex, call 830-285-2140 or go to kidneysolutions.org. Zhang Taekwondo just opened a new location in the South Hills, along with its location in Wexford and its inclusion in the curriculum of Provident Charter School in Troy Hill. Zhang uses Taekwondo to teach its students confidence and self-discipline through physical fitness. Zhang is offering a 4-week special. You get a uniform and lessons for $30. If you mention the Talking Machine, Smokin' Jim, or VIP Nick, they'll give you a further discount. For more information, go to zhangtkd.com or call 724-934-9264. Hey, thanks so much for watching our promos. We'd like you to support everybody in those promos there, and I got to shout out to Stay Joey Strong. 9 years, me and David Fabus have been friends. I'm glad I can help promote them, and they've raised over $100,000, as we said, to try to find a cure for DIPG. So that's a special, heartfelt thing there. All right, what's on your mind, Smokin' Jim Frazier?
Thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. And if you want the green,
coming at
you got to see Levine. Hey, man, I tell you what, Al Levine, the Talking Machine, I'm gonna quickly break down
what are you doing?
The Super Bowl and why a certain team may win or lose. The quarterback position. You got Patrick Mahomes making $52 million this year, and Brock Purdy making only $870,000. But I think the quarterback position's even. I got it rated even. I got the receivers. Even. I think both receivers is good. The tight ends are Hall of Fame.
What about
Tight ends.
Kadarius Toney?
Who?
Kadarius Toney?
They got rid of him.
Is he not? He's not getting a helmet for the
No,
game.
he led the league in drops, and guess what? He couldn't pick up his helmet for the playoff game. That's why he's not playing.
didn't
They
have
said,
any-
"Here, if you can pick your helmet up," they put Vaseline like the
should've-
Raiders did.
They should have sent him over to talk to Jack Tatum.
Running back, two good running backs, but the best running back in the NFL and maybe one of the best running backs in NFL history, McCaffrey. You got, I would say the offensive line, I give the edge
He's
to
reading
San
notes.
Francisco. Defensive line, I give that to San Fran with Bosa, Chase Young. Linebackers, I give it to San Fran with Warner. Defensive backs, I say it's about even. The game will come down to the weakest link, and the weakest link on the team is the first round bust from New Ken, Sky Moore. So I'm going with San Francisco 49ers being hungry. I hate to go against Taylor Swift. I'm a Swiftie, but I think the San Francisco 49ers will win, and Brock Purdy will ride off in the sunset. Him and Cam Newton can go at it in the
Mr.
offseason.
Irrelevant.
Yeah.
Hey,
the
hey
Steelers could have had
Smoking
it.
Jim, this is no disclaimer. I know you're all about money,
Yeah.
and you give a guy that's not making 10% of what Mahomes is making.
Yes.
What's he done in 6 years, and what's he done in playoffs?
Well, I only go by the last 20 games because
Okay.
Mahomes played.
All right,
20
then
games,
I
he
end my
played 19.
I end my
And
question.
Both
Yeah.
of them passed for 4,000 yards, and Brock Purdy passed for 31 touchdowns. Mahomes 27. So you got to give the edge really to Purdy, but I say even.
Okay, then the second question is, have you seen Kansas City's defense the whole season?
Yes.
Okay, I rest my case.
Good defense.
I'll
Okay,
tell
good
you who
defense.
I'm going for. He just gave my
Okay.
bet away on the game. But thank you, Smoking. Just was clarifying a couple points of interest that I had. We have a few people watching. Chip, your better half, Stephanie's watching tonight.
Hey, love you, baby.
Stephanie, that mix you gave us was great, and I was jealous of what Chip brought in that you gave him. It was twice as big as the large bag of nuts that we had. And look at him. He looks like he gained 3.5 pounds. Teresa Mariano, thank you for watching. We got Prosenjit M is watching. Charlene Thomas is watching. Jahid's watching. Daniel Stepanovich is watching. Thanks all of you for watching us. We appreciate you. What's on your mind, Chip Hayner?
Well, thank you. I got a couple of things that are on my mind.
Lay 'em
But
out
since
there.
we went ahead and decided to talk about the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
I'm going to stay in that vein. And I have to disagree with Smoking Jim, which shocking. After 12 years, this is the first time that's happened.
Oh,
But,
this is 2024. Chip is exactly right.
But anyhow, I digress. I do believe that the San Francisco 49ers do have an amazing offense. But if I go by what I saw in the AFC and NFC championship game, I think without any question of a doubt, Kansas City's defense is going to shut down San Francisco's offense. Their defense, look what they did to the Baltimore Ravens. And the Baltimore Ravens
number
were
one
dropping
running team.
35 to 40 points on everybody as they went through the year. And ultimately, I think it's going to come down to being a one-score game. And if you're playing the Kansas City Chiefs and you're down to a one-score game, the determining factor is going to be Pat Mahomes. He's going to make the plays that need to be made. Look what he did to Buffalo in the playoffs last year with 13 seconds left in the game. And you know what? That's where I'm going to hang my
Chip,
hat.
after your great comments, I got to tell anybody, if you don't bet, don't start the bet. If you do bet and you're starting now, always go the opposite of Smoking Jim Degenerate Gambler. Frazier.
So,
Thank you.
Kansas City in a one-score game. That's where I feel that the Super Bowl is going to go. The next question I have, and we could get some input from the other members of our panel here, is we've got a couple of awards that are going to be announced this week, and I know there's been a lot of awards that aren't the official award yet as to who the Defensive Player of the Year is and should be, and I believe everybody sitting here would agree to me without any question that T.J. Watt should be Defensive Player of the Year.
Chip, I co-sign that.
Unless you subscribe to this PFF metric that has, what's his name?
Myles Garrett.
Miles Garrett.
Miles Liar
as
Garrett.
a better choice.
Yeah,
but
I remember
Miles Garrett didn't show up for the
liar.
last six games of the season, nor did he show up for the playoff game.
What did he do against the Steelers? Sorry, Chip,
What
I had to
did he ever
interrupt.
do against the Steelers?
Isn't
He
that
puts on his
funny?
uniform, rolls around in the grass, gets some grass stains on it, makes no plays. But the next argument I want to hear coming up. Now, I know who's probably going to get Offensive Player of the Year. That's going to go to Christian McCaffrey without any question of a doubt.
Yeah.
And I do also believe that he should get the league MVP this
agree.
year.
Oh,
Over Lamar Jackson, and not just because of his failure in the playoffs, but where would the San Francisco 49ers be without Christian McCaffrey? Think about
Whoa.
that for a minute. The guy scored almost 25 touchdowns this year for the 49ers. And I was not aware of this. I found this out this week, that his dad is the former wide receiver for the Denver Broncos. Easy
Yeah, I
Ed
had heard that,
McCaffrey,
yeah.
Who used to have another Hall of Famer chucking him the ball, John Elway.
yeah.
So it's pretty amazing. Good bloodlines there.
Yeah.
But I do think McCaffrey
Was he a ball
should
boy
get
there,
the-
so he learned that?
I don't know about I don't tell you what. He runs with a purpose.
Yes, sir.
If he only gets one blade of grass, he gives you 110% effort.
Yeah. And he's not the biggest guy.
And I'm telling you what, you give him the ball and he makes things happen. Somehow, some way.
Yeah, but I got a question for Smoking Jim, and you can disclaim me. I'm a white guy, but I noticed there's only
I
one
noticed I've
there's
been calling
only
you brother by
one
mistake.
white running back.
That's a shame.
So, in all the years on our show, you haven't done the reverse discrimination. So, I just wanted to ask you while we're in a bit talking about, I love Christian McCaffrey and what he's done and how he operates. And he plays hurt. Did you see the first playoff game?
Yeah.
He had a special therapist rubbing his leg and calf.
Well,
And look what he did.
I thought he was done when he left Carolina, but maybe he just had to get away from loudmouth Cam. And so, by the
Temper.
way, to speak about Cam Newton, who was criticizing Brock Purdy,
Yeah.
I love what Brock Purdy's response back was.
What'd he say?
He said there's 90 quarterbacks in the NFL, and you ain't one of them.
Did he say that? I like him.
Yes, he
He's
did.
smart.
That was an awesome comment.
No, that is great. No, just had to interrupt you on that. Thanks, Chip. No, good points. Welcome back. He's every other week, and we appreciate it. John Wagner's watching, old-time friend of ours from SIPS. Mario Tempest, one of our good friends. He was at almost every show for about 5 or 6 years. Then he got involved in 10 different businesses, and he runs them all. So contact him if you need some help. He can sell it to you. All right. Peggy Rohde's back. Hello, Al. Always enjoy your show. Hello to everyone. Nick and Peggy Rohde. We appreciate our biggest fans in Rochester, New York. Pete Kasich, he's friends with us. Thanks for tuning in, watching us today. We're going to Nick, VIP Callis. What's on your mind?
Well, I'd like to say that this week we were replenished with our cameras in this studio. We got a refresh. Got some
Please
new ones.
explain.
Well, the reason why I bring that up is we don't get them too often, but also we are retiring a camera that has been around since I think 2007.
That's before we got here.
It's done its due service. So I just want to say
Are we going to have a ceremony?
we should. It's up now. It's kind of semi-retired. It's like Andy Amrine, right? Like he went from like 80 to 40 hours a week working over at Evie. This camera is going to be used when we need it, but we probably aren't going to need it too often. So it's semi-retired, but I don't know. I felt attached to it as well, just understanding the history that BPTV acquired this camera when I was 8 years old. So quite an accomplishment. It's made it through so many generations television and BPTV evolution. So,
And it helped us on Pittsburgh Sportsline in that 10-foot square studio.
It did. It's the last camera that had remote controls on the handles as well. Now you got to use the little side remote controls. So it's a legend. So I just wanted to pay my respects
We
to
salute you.
such a historic camera here at the studio. Speaking of basketball, too, we also got a couple games on BPTV on Thursday and Friday, so check those out. Those will be our last basketball games of the year, but go Hawks. And
Well, they're in the playoffs, you said.
yes, the boys' team will be in the playoffs. I don't know if we're covering playoffs yet.
Comcast 21, right?
Correct, Verizon 32.
One
Yes.
and done.
Thanks, Chip.
Boo, don't care.
Disclaimer to
Boo.
Smoking Jim Frazier.
Who's wearing a red pirate hat?
He talks about a school where they recruit everybody for 30 years called Gateway, and somehow Aliquippa is at 5A with 2A students, and the number is much
They must do a
much
better job
lower.
of recruiting.
Wait,
Yeah, they do now. You see, they got 4 great athletes out of the transfer portal.
They've got Heinz Field, too.
Yeah.
You know, wait, now, speaking of that,
sorry.
hold on.
Yeah,
no,
go
you're
ahead.
good. No, unrelated to that, now that I'm thinking of colors, Smoking Smoking messaged me one day because on the fan we were talking about me and Doran are colorblind, and Smoking texted me and said, "Didn't know you were colored blind, buddy." Anyway, so I don't know. I
By
don't
the
know.
way, my son Drew said hi,
Hi, Drew.
and he goes, he's colorblind like you.
Right, yeah. So, but Smoking
Color, C-O-L-O-R.
Yeah, Smoking put. I don't know if he did that on purpose. Look at him over there, just stuck it
No, he
out.
can't help it. He graduated Gateway.
Did you know what you were doing, or
No.
no?
Typo.
That was a typo. Okay, good.
Again, he graduated from Gateway.
I'm glad I could clear that up on public television here.
We thank you.
and
Now
then-
carry on.
Final thing, I'm going to talk a little bit about All-Star games and All-Star breaks a little bit in VIP time, but to save you the trouble of waiting for my Super Bowl prediction, I have no idea who to pick. For some reason, though, I'm leaning toward the 49ers when I talk about
Yes!
the Chiefs just seem like an obvious choice, and I know the NFL likes to breed storylines, and I feel like the heartbreak of Taylor Swift and all of that. I mean, like, it feels like the Chiefs are the obvious
This
choice.
isn't about Taylor Swift.
It's not-
She's on air 23 seconds. You guys are all, I hate to say it, but there's something wrong with everybody.
No, I mean,
If you're showing somebody for 23 seconds, an average play is like 3 or 4 minutes in football, and you're not complaining about that. How do you complain about 23 seconds? She's a billionaire. She's a self-paid
No, but you know what I mean.
billionaire.
The storyline
Everybody in the sports
the
media is
sto-
talking bad about her.
the storyline is that, the heartbreak, she was bringing them a lot of luck. You know what I mean, though? There's a lot of storylines that could, favor the 49ers here because the Chiefs seem like an obvious choice. And I like going with the not obvious choice. They're also, I don't
Well, wait,
think
who's
there's
the
been,
better
since
team?
since the Patriots, which are, see, now I don't know. It's close. And I'm with Chip because he predicted it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's a tough decision to make. I'm going to lean toward the 49ers because I don't like to bet against the Chiefs, but I also think that the Chiefs are obvious and the NFL likes surprises. So that's it. That's what's on my mind.
Thank you, Nick. Sorry to rant about
So I
Taylor
got
Swift.
Mikey and Marco. They're both with 49ers, too, so there's 3
Well,
already.
all I can say is if you're with a degenerate gambler, my best friend, we'll see if he's right and I'm wrong next week and Chip's wrong. So
No, I also didn't say I was going to put money on it. So
we didn't say you're a gambler.
good.
I didn't
Very
put
good.
you
I'm
in
not
that.
a gambler.
I'm
but I
not
mean,
gambling
wait, you
either.
think you think the 49ers are going to win?
Yeah.
I
It's
missed
been,
that.
it's
Yeah,
been,
you did. That's why I was jumping on
Alan,
you.
Maybe I
it's been
should choose
30
the
years
Chiefs.
since the 49ers won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's going to be 31.
Understand. And for all the people that don't want the 49ers to win their 6th Super Bowl, the Patriots already did it, so the shine's off of that 6 being the only ones.
Yeah, but those
we
6
were first, though, so I'll do that before I get into what's on my mind.
Yeah, but those 6, in my humble opinion, they're tainted because Belichick sanctioned 3 times for cheating. The luster is off of him as the greatest coach of all time. I'm sorry.
Well, you even do that with Barry Bonds. So Chip has a history of trying to do what's right
Barry Bonds cheated?
with what his head got as big as a basketball. I had his rookie card Look at it, 176 pounds with a nice smaller head. Okay, we digress. Paul Coffey's watching. Somebody's mother's watching. Maureen, hello. Thanks for tuning in tonight. We appreciate you. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you guys, but I have a mantra I've been talking about for a few years because this guy came into the league. Don't bet against Mahomes. I've only lost like one time to Brady about it or whatever, or twice. So San Francisco got better players that I look at than Kansas City in general. The defense, check the points in the second half with Kansas City's defense for all you gamblers. They are always under on the points that they're supposed to defend against in the second half. Now, these are media points. Now, the media point on the Swifties in the NFL, what they believe, they're a nonprofit worth about $8 billion. They don't pay taxes and they have gambling, but their players are in trouble if they gamble on tiddlywinks. So, I mean, it's shocking the hypocrisy here. And whatever their agenda is, Kansas City brought in over $330 million with Taylor Swift. Somebody on the panel here, answer what she made off of what they made. Did she get $1? Wow. Did she make anything?
I think she's good though.
No. I'm asking the question. You know, she's self-made, like you're self-made. Nobody gave you anything. She started 15. My point is, people for some reason don't want to respect women that are successful. She's one of the most successful women on the planet right now. And if she wants to support her boyfriend, that's great. If she doesn't go, tell me what the NFL and the media would be saying.
She has done more for the NFL than the NFL has done for her.
Well, that's what I'm saying. She didn't get $1. Yep. And she's doing it because supposedly they're in love. I don't know, but it sure looks like it. So my thing with all this distraction of the game, Kansas City's for real. The problem with their season this past year, 11-6, was can anybody dispute they led the league in drop balls? Yeah. So who'd they get rid of accidentally? The guy Tony that helped lead the league. Now, I don't know what the media knows and the secrets he has because he works for that station. We can't talk about the Fan 93.7. And
we don't have secrets on the Super Bowl. It's just Pittsburgh teams.
No, I'm just saying on media. I'm talking in general. I know people know things or say things, but I just look at what my eye test tells me. Tony's not there. Mahomes is complete in almost every pass that hits a guy in his hands. I watch him all the time, and when you try to compare, they're calling him the GOAT. I would say, like I told Smokin' Jim the first year we drafted T.J. Watt, he's the greatest linebacker in Steeler history. Then he got Rookie of the Year. He's the greatest linebacker. I go, Smokin' Jim, he's good, but give him some time. Then he won DPOY a couple times. Maybe he'll get it a third time, but, we don't know. So, I mean, sometimes you got to just look at reality here. Like, what's the reality? We're having fun watching games, even if I believe they're all fixed.
So, here's the thing I don't understand. Why do we have to refer to a player that does extremely well as a farm animal? I just... Okay.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. But I just had to put my opinions on what's on my mind. And thank you for listening and putting up with me. Let's go to Fiction and Fact from Smokin' Jim's Almanac. 10 seconds.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. I tell you what, man.
What?
The year Peyton Manning was a senior in high school, he was first-team Parade All-American. Do you know who was second-team Parade All-American quarterback?
You're going to tell us again, and you were at Tennessee.
Well, yeah, I was there. But that was Peyton Manning's freshman year. But Peyton Manning.
See, I can remember some of the stories.
Senior year in high school, he was first-team Parade All-American. Second-team Parade All-American quarterback was Hines Ward. I
with
tell you what,
Georgia. In
we
Georgia.
Chip and I talked about this before the show. Listen, Hines Ward, I always said, don't forget, when Hines Ward went to Georgia, he went there as a quarterback. But they had this running back that was loafing all the time. He was a senior. He got almost booted off the team because he didn't want to practice half the time. So Hines Ward went to running back, led the team in rushing as a freshman. The guy that they almost booted off the team was Terrell Davis. They didn't realize he had migraine headaches.
Wow.
And they thought he was a loafer or a quitter. So Hines Ward beat him out. Hines Ward's sophomore year, he was a quarterback. He led them to the Peach Bowl. He broke Jeff Blake's Peach Bowl record. He passed for 400 yards and rushed for 100. Then they recruited Eric Zier and moved Hines Ward to wide receiver. He ended up being one of the best receivers in Georgia.
No wonder he
history.
had a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, he came here to Pittsburgh Steelers, and they was always looking to replace the guy. They was always looking to
Well,
replace
you know he
him.
didn't have any ACL or ligaments in his knee,
Yes.
so that's why.
Yes,
they thought he'd blow up.
And he didn't have a dad.
Yeah.
And he ended up with 1,000 catches for 1,200 yards, 85 touchdowns. Don't forget, he ran a bunch of reverses. He was a blocker. This guy threw passes.
They
He
changed
did it
the
all.
rules. They changed the rules because of him
They changed
and his
the
blocking.
rules because of Hines. Always said that Hines Ward wouldn't make the Hall of Fame for this reason, and that changed my mind on it last year. I said Antonio Brown's going to break every record he ever had, and Antonio Brown would go be a Hall of Famer before it. But Antonio lost his mind, never did break Hines Ward's records. Hines Ward deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, not as a head coach. His head coaching record is 3-7, but
That's
as a
like your
player,
betting record.
yeah,
That's
as a
how you
player,
bet.
Hines Ward deserves to go in there. I tell you what, man, the guy got one of the best smiles ever. He blocked everybody. He won. Not only did he win 2 Super Bowls, but he was MVP of 1. What more you got to do to become a Hall of Famer? I think Hines Ward deserves it.
Yeah, but Smokin' Jim, this is a first on the show, Pittsburgh Sportsline. Smokin' Jim almost hated Hines Ward,
Yeah.
talked about him taking guys to strip clubs
Yeah.
and not playing
Yes.
football, right?
Yes.
Now he's turned 180 degrees away.
Let me-
We salute you to the truth.
Let me tell you something. I agree with him wholeheartedly on Hines's. My mind's eye should have already been in the Hall of Fame. But you think about it. Here's a guy who got 1,000 receptions in his NFL career on a predominantly running football team.
Good
The
point.
Pittsburgh Steelers were not a passing team, and it wasn't until the last 3 to 4 years of his career that he had a quarterback that could actually get the ball to him. He was getting 100 catches with people like, what did we say, Mike Tomczak,
Cordell.
Kent Graham,
Cordell Stewart.
Stewart. I mean, he had
Charlie
nobody
Batch.
throwing him the ball, yet he still he never took a play off. If the ball wasn't coming to him and you were playing on the defense, you were looking to find out where number 86 was, because he would earhole you and you'd wake up in the third quarter. You know, if he hit you in the first half.
You guys convinced me. No, I appreciate the hard work ethic that he had and how popular he was with the fans. Little story. I've always wore Steeler gear once I stopped ripping them off from '69, but I never wanted players' numbers. So my sister-in-law, ex-sister-in-law, Rose, for a birthday, got me a Hines Ward 86.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I never seen you wear it.
well, I only wore it in certain family occasions with them because it was the honor that she got that for me. But that's the only number I've ever had on a Steeler jersey. So,
Not even Franco?
no. But I shook Franco's hand, and Smokin' Jimmy bought me a wine, and he offered to buy me a second wine, and I said I had my limit. I told you years ago at a Jessica Lee show.
In the early 70s, when the Steelers first started, you know, around the time of the Immaculate Reception, I had one Steeler number jersey that I was got.
Kit Nix?
Number 89, and he was a tight end for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was John McMakin was his name. Do you remember?
Oh, I forgot
we
about
got
him.
Did we get him in the a trade from Buffalo?
I don't remember where we got,
Wow.
but that was the only Steelers jersey that's a name
That must have been on sale.
forgotten to history. But John McMakin was the one and only
Get outta
Steelers
here.
jersey that I ever had.
Well, we'll try to move on a little. Hey, Smoking Jim, our friend Rich Donnelly's watching
That's
us.
my man.
He just hired us. Nick, this is the guy who hired us to do the Donnybrook again at the Priory Hotel. Mark your calendars. Priory Hotel tickets will be on sale shortly. March 15th. It's the Irish against the Pittsburgh guys. Nick had to fill in for Smoking Jim had a secret illness.
You gonna be there this year?
Yes, sir.
Well, he looked healthy last year.
So I'm gonna get demoted.
Yeah, you're going to go back on the cameras and the V-Mix and do it live everywhere.
Announcing boxing was fun.
Didn't we have a great time?
We did have a great time.
That was his debut. You talk about being nervous. He went international. Give you a little, Rich, I'll give you a little comment out there. The Irish people, I put a disclaimer up front. I said, we're pro-Pittsburgh, because they were wondering why we sound like that. I go, we've seen all these boys with the hard work and the fighting that they do, but I salute your fighters for being tough and in great shape, so good luck. So they calmed down with criticizing us, why we rooting for the Pittsburgh guys. But, you know, we all bleed black and gold, sometimes a little weaker than others.
The
But
show's called Pittsburgh Sportsline, for goodness sake.
yes, and we are international.
Rich Donnelly was a Carrick High School legend, especially in football.
Yes, he was. All right. Chief said Macaroni Tony's on speed dial for Smoking Jim. Ann Harder said, I agree, Hines belongs in the hall. And we're going to Chip's trivia time in 10 seconds.
All right, everybody. So tonight for Tips Trivia is going to start with a question to my dear friend Jim Frazier.
Oh.
What is today's date?
February 6th, Black History Month.
There you go. Exactly. It's Black History Month. And what have I been doing since 2011 when I started on this show every February?
Bringing up some
We
Negro baseball.
There you go. Talking about the Negro Leagues
Oh,
baseball.
let me do a disclaimer first. You saw it, Chip, and I think you liked it. For Black History Month, I put up a thing about Gus Greenlee, and the first black-owned stadium was built Greenlee Field.
Okay, so you was just getting ready to go.
That
on?
I just wanted to put it out there, but
You
the
wanted to steal
reason
my thunder.
the reason why I put it up there is Smoking Jim. We know he's black, and he only talks about black people during Black History Month. We talk all year about it, but we don't say it because they're players. So Chip, carry on. Sorry to steal your thunder.
Being the
but
baseball historian that I am, and you cannot love the game of baseball without recognizing the accomplishments of the Negro Leagues and the existence of the Negro Leagues and the players that graduated from the Negro Leagues into the major leagues and helped to make the game what it is today.
Yes,
yeah.
Okay, so there was two significant teams in the Pittsburgh area. This week, we're going to talk about the Pittsburgh Crawfords.
Exactly.
Okay, popularly known as the Craws. They played in the Hill District, owned by Gus Greenlee. All right, in 1931, Gus Greenlee, an African-American businessman, bought the Crawfords.
Well, gambler.
In 1933, he founded what is known as the Second Negro League, built Greenlee Field as a ballpark for his team during the mid-30s. The Crawfords were one of the strongest Negro League teams ever assembled. As the Hill District teams became more competitive and professionalized, lines of color were drawn. The teams became formalized initially through the efforts of Bill Harris and Teenie Harris, no relation, who managed teams
photographer.
that emerged from local Hill high schools. Greenlee bought the team in 1931. It was a time of organizational vacuum. As the major African American leagues of the 20s, the Negro League and the Eastern Colored League had fallen apart under the pressures of the Great Depression. By late that year, Greenlee signed many of the top African American stars to his team, most notably Satchel Paige. Wow. The next year, Greenlee hired Hall of Famer and arguably the greatest shortstop that ever played the game, and it depends on who you ask whether they answer this. Oscar Charleston as player manager, added Hall of Famers Josh Gibson, Judy Johnson, Cool Papa Bell, along with other notable players as William Bell, Jimmy Crutchfield, Rap Dixon, Sam Bankhead, Ted Radcliffe. Playing as an independent club, the Crawfords immediately established themselves as the best black team in the United States. The Crawfords played in the new Greenleaf Field, named after the owner and builder. This was one of the few parks to be built and owned by a Negro League team.
It was the first.
Page and Gibson often unwound at the Crawford Grill,
Yes.
one of black pitchers' favorite night spots, where the likes of singers Lena Horne and Bill Bojangles Robinson performed.
Yeah.
Next up,
Great
on
stuff.
my next visit here, we'll stop in Homestead and we'll talk about the Grays.
Whoa, there we go.
Can we
Thanks,
call it
Chip.
something other than Homestead?
No. No, and Smoking Jim, a little side note, I got stories. Well, I lived in North Baldwin, about 2007, and I told my dad, you want to go to the new waterfront? And I go, it's in Homestead. He goes, Alan, the Homestead's always been terrible. I had basketball teams that were out of Homestead with Cyril Wecht on it.
Wow.
And we always had trouble in Homestead.
Wow.
So that's what my dad said.
Sarah White played basketball.
Yeah, my dad was a coach and had a team together.
I didn't know that.
I know some
Alan,
stuff.
There still is problems from time to time in Homestead. Just to put it mildly.
Well, I don't want to tell too many stories, but I saw a couple. Terry Smith, thanks for watching us. We appreciate you, a good friend of ours. He's watching Smoking. He got his eye on you.
Wow. You mean the coach for Penn State?
I don't know who else would be tuning in.
Wow, that's great.
All right, let's go to Nick VIP Callis time in 10 seconds.
All right, so All-Star games and All-Star breaks really got me thinking whenever the NHL decided to have its All-Star break on Super Bowl week. It just didn't really make a whole lot of sense.
Great point.
And then the Pro Bowl games exist. And
Who watches them? Because I haven't seen one in 25 years.
after the premiere of the Pro Bowl games, we had the new and improved Pro Bowl games this year with Madden NFL, a video game segment in there to give points to one side. And then Major League Baseball used to determine the World Series by the league winners. So a whole lot of interesting stories that come from these games. And I think I've had this opinion before where I've talked about, okay, All-Star breaks don't really matter. But the Pro Bowl games have taken that opinion to an entirely new level. I mean, here's where we are right now in the world, right? There are so many different places where you can watch content, right? You got, public access like what we're doing, which I'm biased is the best, right? It's good stuff. You also have people who can stream and do stuff exclusively on the internet. And then you have people that contract with cable companies or big businesses to make, money doing this directly through those companies. So what we're seeing now is that you've got the Pro Bowl games, which has turned into, okay, well, we want to play a game and we want to pretend like this matters, but we also want to show a bunch of these people who are the popular celebrity people on television. I mean, it's like, I've never been a fan of the people online. Like, some people will go and they'll play video games and people will pay to watch them play video games. I've never understood that, because the whole point of the video game is to have the experience yourself, not to watch somebody else have the experience. So there's different reasons why certain people do it. Like, they'll play games real fast, or they'll like break records, and that stuff's cool. But like, just to watch other guys play games doesn't make sense. That's what the Pro Bowl games really were. It's like, oh, these guys don't care, but haha, we're cool and we're playing the games, and you should watch on television because look how much fun we're having. No, it doesn't do it for me, and I'm mad about it. That's kind of where certain programs are steering. Like, they try. Okay, now, I don't give the NFL credit for trying, though, because they'll make money. You could have 5 stars just like sit in a room for an hour in the dark and somebody would tune in and watch that. I mean, people get dressed in their underpants and go out and participate in the combine.
I
and
miss that.
And that's a big event. So the NFL can really do a lot. So
I miss that, too.
I don't forgive them for trying, right? You want to start something new for fun, sure, but like the NFL doesn't need this. It's just – and then the Manning brothers, because, again, they're the popular guys, right? They had successful NFL careers.
What do they do? I've never watched that.
They just
Act like fools.
That's one way to put it. They act like fools. But again, it's
okay. I'm glad I missed it.
It's becoming like, okay, and I fell asleep during it too, which is really interesting. Like the flag football game was almost watchable, but then they're like, "Ooh, we're gonna have a Madden NFL game," and I'm like, "Okay, cool. You know, watching that could be interesting." They just played highlight clips where they screamed when they did well and when they did poorly, and then there was a final score, and then the NFC got points. And then, you know, like the flag football game is the one thing, but the skills competition give you points as well. And there's like, you got the first half and then the skill, like the rest of the skills competition in the middle, and then the second half of the flag football game on top of 2 days of other games that give you points. Like, it's just a lot. Like, it's just, and again, it's just like, okay, the popular kids are getting the attention, right? Like, let's watch them do things that don't actually matter. Like, Major League Baseball did an interesting thing trying to make the World Series matter, and that was dumb because
I agree.
Because, you know, like you're
Just say yes.
You're putting a
Yes.
bunch of players in to give them recognition for doing well. That shouldn't determine the World Series. I think we can all agree with that. In the NHL,
Yes, we do.
the NHL's like in the middle of like the All-Star break where they schedule it on the week of the Super Bowl. That to me just doesn't make any sense. And then you know, and then they do their 3-on-3, whatever the heck they're doing. It just doesn't. It doesn't do it for me. So, but the NFL is just getting ridiculous. Like they tried something they didn't have to try, and they made it the popular kids club, and we're all just supposed to watch and accept that. I'm not going to accept it. I don't know. The NFL is just too big to do anything about it. Like they can do anything and they'll make money. And the stadium was packed, which was nuts. Like you're spending thousands of dollars for that experience. I don't get it. So I don't get it. That's the opinion. I don't understand where the interest comes from. I think it's just to try to garner money and attention on the league.
Absolutely.
But I'm tired of the popularity contest when it comes to events like this. It's not doing it for me.
So my point about this whole thing, and the NFL could probably put football players in their uniforms, and you could watch. They could sit there and watch paint dry, and they could probably get people to pay to do it. But if there was ever an event that should have been on Peacock, streamed on Peacock, that was it. That way it wouldn't have messed up my 6 o'clock news on Sunday night, watching people interview players after a flag football game. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, those are
Well, Nick, all I can say, very great. Welcome aboard.
well.
Because I've thought about it in general, and again, an $8 billion nonprofit company can do that.
Well, that's like one of those things too, like where we watch sports, and we enjoy the nature of competition as
Yes.
sports fans, and we appreciate a lot of the players for doing things that we cannot do.
Yes.
I feel like maybe not as well, but I feel like I could do any of that. Like I could play Madden. Like I could push a sled. I could do a race. I could play flag football. Like most of us here could. Well, you know.
Well, I would
With
have
a repaired knee, I guess.
Yeah,
if I'm
yeah,
good,
I
You might be a little limited.
I would
Yeah,
have
yeah.
loved to see one of these high-priced athletes blow out a knee or something in a flag football game, and then how do you explain that to the team that's going to pay him $20 million?
Well, that's the thing too. They're not going 100%. They're not trying as hard as they can.
It doesn't matter. I mean, you can blow out a ligament.
I'm not saying it's impossible.
Tying your shoes.
I'm saying that they play with such little intensity that it's very unlikely that they will get injured
True.
through the game. So that's my whole point.
But
It's
I
just,
mean, they take a playoff game that everybody wants to watch, and they put it on streaming TV so nobody could watch it. Wow. And then they put a game that 90% of the people don't care anything about.
$8 billion
and they don't
nonprofit
put that
needs
on the
more
streaming
money.
service.
to do a callback
More
too.
money.
That's why I appreciate the
Money.
home run derby so much, because it's one of those, or even like the slam dunk contest to an extent. Like
Yes.
home run
Yeah.
derbies are more tangible and finite in how they go. Like you can get results. The dunk contest is more like, what do the judges think? And when that, I forget the dude that didn't win when he jumped over Taco Fall in like 2020, that was nonsense. So I don't like the dunk contest for that. And there's only so much you can do there. But like the home run derby is interesting. That's a good event to have because like, okay, not everybody can hit a ball 500 some feet. So like when you get moments like that,
And
when
how
you,
many times can they do that?
and they go legit like head to head in a tournament bracket now with a clock, which is baseball. Ooh, a clock. Well, they have one in the real game too.
It worked
you know what I
out.
mean? It worked out, yeah, because they don't have to like choose their pitches and work with their outs. Like they have a certain amount of time and they can swing freely, and I think that's super interesting. So when Chip calls it glorified batting practice, I take exception. But that's why.
All right, ding, ding. You've had enough. Your time is up. Your time is up.
Nicholas,
We're
we will
gonna
have this conversation.
ding, ding. We're gonna
on
move
another
on
show.
with that.
We will have this conversation.
I had to
on
ring the
another show.
bell. Mark Lamage is watching us, and whoever else is watching, we appreciate it. We're gonna go to my segment, On Location, 10 seconds. On Location. Guess what? We got On Location. I gave you the little tease. Rich Donnelly asked us to do the Donnybrook. It's been going on for years. Did last year with Nick. Missed Smoking Jim. I forget what illness or crash or whatever else he had going on. It was something. But we did do it without him. Nick really shined well. Never did announcing of boxing. He put it on his list of 12 different sports that he's announced. That's a new Pittsburgh Sports Line talking record. Sorry, I got caught up in the baseball and the non-batting practice. Oh my. On Location will be there and tickets will be on sale. It's a great historic venue, and it was a church, and it's a really fancy upscale place. Wouldn't you agree, Nick?
Yeah, I like it there.
It was amazing. We had great seats, and the crowd was there, and we had a little rough time with the Irish folks from Ireland, but we seemed to calm them down a little bit. They did back off a little. Then I have my event coming up, the Coliseum Combat Zone's first MMA event at All-American Fieldhouse, 1 Racket Lane, Monroeville. Woo! God's Country, 15146. Supposedly, Smoking Jim lives there. I've never seen any evidence, but not yet. But we got things moving along with that. We got our website. You can go to ColiseumCombatZone.com. We give updates on there as we get some fighters lined up. We're working on that, and we're going to be announcing some fighters in the next couple weeks. So stay tuned for that. We're going to try. You're allowed to get a maximum of 14 fights. MMA fights, amateurs and pros. We're looking to try to get close to that, 10 to 14, but if we get 14, we're good. We're looking at trying to get 1,000 people out there, and we'll give you ticket prices and ticket links. Will be coming up in the next month. That'll be on the website too, and we'll have flyers out there about it. So I'm excited. It's the biggest event I've ever done in my life. We're trying to get over 1,000 people there. I figure with the 6,600 close friends I have on Facebook and the 7,000 plus I have on Pittsburgh Sports Line, you can come out of town. There's going to be 10 tables with VIP seats. We'll give prices later. We've got reserved seats, general admission, and standing room only. So we're looking to have a big thing. It's going to be like UFC, and it's going to be like a light concert atmosphere there. We got all kind of PA, DJs, and everything going on there, and we're going to have it's going to be live streamed to Pittsburgh Sports Line on YouTube, and live stream if you're watching us on Pittsburgh Sports Line Facebook. So that's my promo to kick it off, and Black History Month. All are welcome. Now we got 5 minutes to talk about anything, but I wanted to bring up about this amazing young lady. Caitlin Clark is going to be the leading scorer, or she is the leading scorer in men and women's basketball. And she got another year of eligibility because of COVID, just like Kenny Pickett reached his peak. Well, my comparison is she didn't reach her peak last year where I thought she did. She did better than that. Now I found out, I'm glad they're paying athletes, but it's out of control. Guess what? She's going to stay another year because of COVID, because simply she can do well for her school, and she can make more NIL money than she can in the WNBA.
No doubt.
To me, that is so outrageous that a college player student can make more money than the pros, And I respect all pros because you're the best in the country no matter what league you're in.
Caleb Williams, who's supposedly may be the
He's
first pick in the
thinking-
draft, and and they said that he could literally stay in college another year and make more money than he would make in the first year of his rookie contract in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
That's
There's
insane.
Well, they
There's a
offered Marvin Harrison Jr. $20 million to stay at Ohio State, but he's still going to the NFL.
It's an interesting dynamic with coaches as well. I think a lot of the Nick Sabans that we've seen retire, I think they don't want to deal with any of this.
It's changed.
Recruiting is nuts now.
That in the transfer portal, because here's what happens. As a coach, somebody isn't putting forth the effort, so you bench them, okay? Or you let somebody start in front of them. You used to be that was done to send a message to somebody that said, hey, get your head out of your butt. You need to start getting serious about what you do. Now what happens is the player goes over to the bench, and he's going to pout, and then he's going to go into this transfer portal and go play for somewhere else.
I want to bring this up. Chip always talked about college coaches. They sign for 5 years, 7 years, and they stay a year. And they've been doing it for years. There's no credibility from the coaches except for a few. So when they wanted to put this in with the players, I thought they'd have guide rails on it. Yeah. Instead, there's no rules or limits. Like I would have put on coaches, I was talking about it then, 2 or 3 year minimum that they have to be a coach. I would say it with players, half of their college career, you have to stay at the same team, 2 years.
So here's my problem with the whole thing, okay? If you got a college athlete that's getting paid, okay, and we all agree, all right, these young men should get paid.
Yeah.
They should not be getting scholarships. They should not be getting free room and board. They should not be getting their education paid for because they can afford to pay for it themselves. They're playing for the team. All right, their medical costs are covered, because they're representing that team. But why is a guy that's getting paid $8 or $10 million a year to play football and getting a free ride when there's other students who could benefit and need a scholarship more so?
Why does billionaires not pay much in taxes? There's loopholes.
Because they have lobbyists.
Guys deserve
Doesn't make it right.
They deserve to be on scholarship.
See, it's not.
No, I disagree.
It's not every player getting that much money either. We pick out the select few. But the whole point is the transfer portal is important because if an opportunity is not around for me as an athlete and I want to get more exposure, more playing time, and maybe a little more money, why wouldn't I as an athlete take the opportunity to
You bring up a good point there just on that.
So it's not, I'm not going to fault these guys for that, and not all of them are making such big NIL money. You have to be the best of the best in that regard. But think of it from in every player perspective.
The purpose of the scholarship is that these players are dedicated to playing football,
and they're
students. They can't go and get a job to help pay for their education. Okay, so now they got a job. Whether they're getting $1 million a year or even $200,000, that's $200,000 more than the students that actually need a scholarship. Okay, so they can't afford to pay for their schooling. And they should. That's my humble opinion. If you disagree with it, that's fine.
But I've been through this, and I was through it right before this happened. I understand the trials that it takes to get through being a college athlete.
You lived it, yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
Your points are well taken. The thing is, this is very complex. And Smoking Jim with billionaires, they donate money to lobbyists in Congress and Senate to get the IRS to have a code that's bigger than our room, so they get away with it. We're not rich like them, but this has been going on before you learned about taxes. Same thing with NIL. So I got to say, stay Joey strong.